All right. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for the Husbands Tell All. Everything your spouse needs to know and more, of course. So here's our disclaimer. You may hear some foul language. You may hear a beer crack in the background. And you may hear a hell yeah once or twice. So sit back, enjoy the call, and crack one open of your own if you want. I will now pass it over to Jody.
All right, so basically what we've done here is we've compiled some questions that we often hear from our consultants in regards to how our spouses help out with the business, what they first thought when we started, things like that. So we just kind of, come up with some questions. We're going to do with this like an interview style call. It's going to be very candid, not very formal, just a lot of fun. So feel free to ask any questions, but I do want to let you know a few things. We can't answer income-specific questions, so you can't say, Kristalina, what did you make last month? Because we can't tell you. We're not going to. So, and I also put in a few pictures of some of the fun things that we've been able to do with our spouses. So every few minutes, Aspen will go ahead and click on those slides, and you'll just see random pictures of different events over the last few years. So let's get started with question one. I'm going to put this out to Steve Fettis. What was your initial thought when you heard Karen had started selling Scentsy, even though I know you weren't in the country at first?
Well, it was I was a surprised, I guess, that she wanted to do this, and she was just talking, well, I just wanted to earn some free wax or whatever and stuff. So, and being in country, not thinking about it, I said, oh, yeah, go ahead and go for it, and do what you want. And then when I got back home from Iraq, my kitchen had half taken over from the Scentsy, and people were coming over, knocking on the door at 9 o'clock at night, requesting they needed their fix of Scentsy. So it was pretty interesting at first get-go when I got related to it when I got back into the country.
Nice. Does anybody else have any thoughts on that when their wives first started selling Scentsy? Mike, Sean?
I'll just say for me, I honestly didn't even really care. She signed up. I'm not going to say she ever sold anything, but she signed up for Mary Kay at one point in time, At Home America. I don't even know. So when I came home and she's like, hey, I'm going to do this, she never even bought a warmer. I didn't even know what Scentsy was. And honestly, if it was $99 to keep her happy and keep her out of my hair, I was all for it. And then that was my first impression of Scentsy. I was like, whatever, it's another thing you're going to do. If it'll last 3 months, 3 months of you being happy.
Perfect. That's a great
I'm going to have to agree. This is Mike, and I'm going to have to agree here. It's kind of the same way with Aspen. She sold Mary Kay. She sold Party Light. And, well, she paid for some Mary Kay, and she paid for Party Light. And nothing ever really came out of it. And her sponsor begged her to join for 6-8 months, forever. And finally, I was like, just do it. If you make $100 back, you make $100 back. No harm, no foul. But if there's a chance you can make a car payment, all the better. So she just jumped in and did it. And so once she made the car payment, I was pretty happy.
Well, that's good.
I gotta agree with everybody else. When Jody first started it, she was doing the in-home daycare and stuff, and I was, hoping that she could do something to alleviate having a house full of kids running around all day long, and so that my stress level went down a little bit. But I didn't expect it to really fester up to anything more than just a little extra income.
Well, I'm surprised. All right, let's go on to the second question. Let's go back to Mike on this one. Do you feel that you fully supported Aspen when she first started? And if you didn't, when did that change for you?
Well, I don't know. For me, I always kind of support Aspen, whatever she wants to do. So, but, I wasn't hard charging at it or nothing. It wasn't cheering her on or had no pom-poms or anything going. But she, you know, and when I first really actually it hit me what it was about is when I went to a convention in Salt Lake City, and that's when I was like, huh, this is a pretty damn good deal. Let's get this thing rolling, and kind of helped her push a little more. So
That's awesome.
I think convention in Salt Lake did it for me.
Anybody else want to weigh in on that?
Well, one of the big things that was for me, this is Steve, you know, winning the Alaskan cruise, you know, and a lot of the incentives, it was pretty awesome for the company to offer those things, and it wasn't that difficult to earn them. So it was pretty awesome to have those opportunities.
Yeah. I bet you loved the Alaskan cruise, didn't you, Steve? Did you throw off a lot?
Yes, I did.
All right. Did you want to weigh in on that, Bill?
Yeah, you know, I always supported Jody, you know, in anything that she's done. But really, the turning point for me was the free trip to Hawaii, because we would have never gone on our own, you know, having to spend the money or whatever. And you know, she wins a week-long trip to Hawaii, and I think that was really my turning point.
Wonderful. All right. We'll move on to question 3. So once you guys were on board with her business, and you did start to, you kind of came around and you started to maybe support her a little bit more. Like for Steve, for you, it was after convention. Did you see there were improvements in her business after you were more on board?
You said it was for me?
Yeah. Well, I was talking about you because you said
Yeah.
it really changed for you after the Alaskan cruise and stuff like that.
Yeah, when I was on board, I was, you know, focused more on her, you know, giving her the time she needed to do her business, you know. If it was just even watching the kids so she could, you know, do a party or what have you, you know, and then helping out with the small things at first, you know, just labeling products and getting products ready to, you know, give out to customers. But it was just those small things to help her out. And then obviously it started to, you know, as Bill said, fester up to become something more than just a hobby, you know, and supplementing our income greatly, which was a big change for me.
Awesome. Sean, did you start to see any improvements in Crystalina's business when she started to maybe help her out a little bit more?
Yeah, once I mean, me being a drill instructor right now in Parris Island, I was always, the cool thing to do is not to go to work and talk about your house smelling good. So once the marine warmer, you know, that came out, we got that. I had it in my little office, and other drill instructors would come in and they'd be like, "Wow, man, it smells pretty good. What is it?" And I would just poke it, the warmer. I'd be like, "I don't know, this thing my wife sells." You know, even though like I heard her spiel 1,000 times, I knew all about it. I still wasn't comfortable like talking about candles with a guy. And then once all the guys were like, "Well, I want one too," and I'm like, "All right, I guess I'll just tell my wife." Then I'd call her all excited, and then every guy just wanted one, and then all of a sudden all their wives wanted one. So then I was just like openly talking about Scentsy, and then just all these guys were like her biggest customers, and then they're just openly talking about it, and it was like they needed their fix too. So once I got on board, you know what I mean, it was almost like acceptable to talk about. I mean, I would say, you know, she started getting a lot more business from my guy friends.
Whatever. I totally got him from my own.
Oh, whatever.
Hey, Mike.
This is a guy call.
Yeah. Get back in the kitchen.
Mike, did you have anything to add?
No, yeah, it's kind of the same lines with Sean. It's just, you know, I'm just a recruiter man out here, so I kind of take it in the office, and everybody starts smelling it, and next thing you know, the wives are like, "Hey, that's good stuff." I said, "Geez, damn right." And then next thing you know, everybody wants it. So it's just putting it out there, letting people know about it. It works just as well, you know.
Yeah.
You don't have to be I didn't have to be the salesman, but just letting people know, hey, here it is.
It sells itself, right?
Yeah.
All right, thanks. So I'm going to ask Bill this question. What sort of things do you think a man or a spouse can do to help their wife with their direct sales business?
I think anything is a great help. You know, cooking dinner one night so she can put in orders, or getting kids ready for bed, or if you don't fall within either one of those categories, helping your spouse sort an order, or packaging up an order, or even making a delivery or two, anything that can be done to alleviate her having to do everything is just a huge help.
So I'm going to weigh in on that too, because I think that he's right. A lot of those things are huge helps, and I think some spouses think that they have to jump fully in and learn the system completely and learn how to do trainings and PowerPoints and stuff like that, and that's not necessarily the case. I think that your spouse being behind you can be the little things, like for us, when Bill runs my errands to the post office, to the bank, drops off, light bulbs to 10 people in a day, that is such a huge help for me, because it allows me to stay home and focus on other things within the business. And again, I think that some people really truly think that in order to help with the business, it has to be, full-on office work or doing parties, and it doesn't have to be that way. It can be as simple and as small as cooking dinner or watching the kids so we can go do a party and not complaining about it, not putting that guilt trip on us saying, oh, you're taking away from the family again. And I think that happens quite a lot with consultants whose husbands don't or spouses don't necessarily see the full potential. Does anybody else want to add in on things that they do to help their spouse?
I would say for me and Kristalina, I think the biggest thing would be understanding. It's still something I often have to second guess, but I have to put myself in a reality check that this is a business, this is what she does, because if we're sitting there watching TV and I'm trying to talk to her and I see her on her cell phone and she's texting away, and then I'm like, babe, and she's like, well, I'm working, and I see it's Facebook. I'm like, no, you're not. So she puts her phone down, then I turn around again, then there's a laptop's open, or it's the iPad, or she gets up and goes on the desktop. I think just being understanding that this is what she does, this is her business, it definitely helps out a lot, because that way if I'm not complaining about it, then she's going to be more active in her business. But if I'm complaining about it, she's going to have to hide it. She's going to be in the closet on her cell phone or something. But to just be more understanding and just realize it's her business or their business.
Right, and being on the cell phone and being on Facebook, I can see where that would look like we're not working, but I think that's, at least at this level, in this rank, it is a huge part of my day. I do a lot of business and team things on Facebook, and I don't want it to ever seem like I'm not working, but that's where I am. That's where I'm doing my work. So being understanding and supportive is huge, I think.
Sean, I used to do the same thing that you just brought up. We would, on my days off, we would go out and run errands, and it was supposed to be us time, or going shopping, or even if it was just grocery shopping. And I look over and she's on the damn phone, and it's like, can't you just put that away for a little bit? And it took me a while to understand that she's actually working. She's not working this thing as a hobby. She's working it as a business, and if that's what she needs to do, then any spouse or partner needs to understand that if you put it out there as to where it irritates you, then you're right. They're gonna hide it. They're gonna go off and try and find someplace else where they can do their business. And the more understanding you are, the easier it is.
And the more they do and the better they do, I believe.
Yeah.
Girls, you can weigh in here too, so if Aspen or Kristalina, if you guys have something to say, I'm sure Kristalina must.
Oh, jeez.
She's probably chopping it.
Why did you go there?
I was just waiting for the invite.
No, she's texting away right now.
So am I. I'm texting away as I do this too, because women are
I'm
good at
placing an order for somebody, so they place an order with me.
Kristalina, we understand.
I know you do. I know.
Oh, okay. Let's move on to the next question, and thank you guys for that. Let's see, number 5, I think. Do you believe that in order to see real results from your spouse's business, she must work it like a business rather than a hobby, which I guess we kind of just covered, but if anybody wants to weigh in, Mike, you've been kind of quiet.
Steve's been quiet.
They've both been quiet.
Well, I'll start off. Start as a business or a hobby. It depends what you want it to do for yourself. If you're looking for something to just add a little bit of income or just to do it as a hobby, then what you put into it as a hobby, that's what you're going to get out of it. And you don't get out of the Scentsy business until you put forth that effort to get what you want out of it. So if you're looking just for that few extra bucks, you can just do that. But at the same time, you put full force effort and do a full-time job like we're talking about, you can increase that end cap and make it a full-time business.
Right.
How about instead of like talking the actual numbers, how about we each say what the potential is for working your business full-time and getting to where we are, so they can kind of know what the light at the end of the tunnel is. You know what I mean? Like, what kind of light? I don't know how to explain it.
I speak Crystalline, and she lost me on that one.
You know what I mean? Like, without talking income, but like, what?
Percent of growth?
Well, I mean, yeah, like,
Put it
so
like this, yeah.
if we have guys on the call that don't understand, like, what we're even talking about as far as why would I want to go and, like, work her business at 9 o'clock at night, kind of give them something of, you know, some, I don't know, like, how your guys'
Well, we
life.
can't really do figures.
Well, no,
but
I know, without giving
the end
figures.
point, but you're saying like
Let's say something like
numbers,
this.
something that
If,
could happen. It all depends
well,
on how you. Go ahead, Mike.
well, it's kind of like this, Steve. I mean, we're looking at retirement, right? And
Yep.
chances are we're not going to have to stress out very hard after we retire. That's the way this business works if you put the effort into it and you're willing to work it. You know, you can.
That's what I'm talking about, Mike.
And the thing is like I want to back up a couple questions, you know, to the spouse support and how spouse helping is, you know, if the spouse ain't supportive, and you don't have to be supportive like building shells for them or, you know, doing all the labor work all the time, but if you're like talked down about it all the time, and your wife is like, well, why even work it? You know, it just makes the house even more miserable when I try to do it. Then what's she going to gain out of it? You know, how is she going to get to where she wants to be, and how are you going to see the results in the end? So, I mean, if you just support her and just not make the house miserable, you know, and it does wonders for your wife to work her business.
Mm-hmm.
Along with that,
Happy life.
like not just supporting, you know, you're just the verbal support, but you can support the whole aspect of the job any which way you can do it. I mean, you know, Bill mentioned the cooking and helping out, but you know, you don't have to learn all the processes, but even just helping out with PowerPoints here or there, or find the niche that you're good at as the spouse and help in that area. You know, if somebody's good, if you're good with computers, help out on that side. Or if you're good at doing something else, you know, go with that area. So you get all the work done, but you're doing what you both like to do.
Very good point.
You know, one thing, I was going to say, one thing for me and Christine and I, she started doing Scentsy for something to do, and she became good at it. She had fun with it. And I think every consultant I've come across, you know, in the last 2.5 years, really 3 years, they all have fun being a part of Scentsy. But once it became a business, I look at it with knowing Kristalina, if she has to deal with the everyday business side of things, now Scentsy becomes a chore for her, and she's not going to have fun doing it. So I try to take that burden of it being a business off of her so she can just still socialize, have fun, and do her Scentsy stuff. And then all the business side of things, I'll worry about that. So for us, that's one thing that helps us out is me handling the burden of the business, and she can just enjoy Scentsy.
So what I'm hearing from all of you is that you all find a way that works for your business. So Sean and Kristalina have what works for them. Karen and Steve, they do what works for them. And Mike and Aspen have their own systems as well, right? So it doesn't always have to be the same. It can do, you have to find what works, the niche for your business. And basically, I think the four of us, we run our businesses with our spouses more like a partnership, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and that makes a big difference too. When your husband feels like they're more involved and they're more important, they're obviously going to want to put forth more of an effort to help that business grow because now they're feeling involved and they see the real results from it. And like Mike had mentioned, Steve and Mike are getting ready to retire fairly quickly. And for those of you who don't know, my husband left his job a year ago this week, today. So, that was something when we started Scentsy, we never, ever saw that happening. I didn't even realize I was starting a business, almost 4 years ago. So there, I had fun. Like Crystalina, I wanted to have fun. I want to get out of the house. I want to get away from all them daycare kids I was watching. So that's what, that's how I started it. And then I started to realize that not only was it fun, but it was very rewarding. And there was real income potential in it. And when you do something that you love, I think that makes it a lot easier to go out and achieve your goals as well. Crystalina,
look at the short time span it took. It didn't take 20 years to get to where you want to be. It took 4.
Right.
Put the effort into it. It's ridiculous. Spend 20 years of a job beating your head against the wall when our wives all of a sudden are cranking it out at 3 and 4 years. You're going, what the? I should have been doing this a long time ago.
I agree with you, Mike. Like Joe, like you guys said, both of you were on the verge of facing retirement. I think I'm not 100% positive, but I think Steve's a little closer than you are. But
Yeah.
He's older.
He's getting a red hat. He's going to get a red hat.
But I got to tell you, once Jody got to the point where we made the decision that, I look at it as at the age of 38, I was able to retire the 9-to-5 grind, or in my case, it was, the midnight grind. Everything became a lot brighter, I guess, as far as being able to put a little bit more into her business and as far as the family goes and everything like that. And I got to tell you, I absolutely enjoy that decision every day I wake up.
Better. I'm just kidding. So on to my next question, and this we kind of maybe already, went into a little bit, but I'm going to start with Mike on this one, if that's okay. How do you think so far Scentsy has changed your family, whether that's, it doesn't have to just be financial, however it's changed your family?
Just in general?
Yeah, in general. Tell us all the things, all the ways Scentsy has blessed your life.
Well, I think it all comes down to finances, though, because there's no more pressure on us.
Yeah.
So there's no pressure. We're not stressed out about things all the time. Things have just happened. It's been a blessing. It's been ridiculous what kind of blessing it's been. And, sometimes we look at each other and say, how do we deserve this? It's just ridiculous. What have we done in our lives to deserve this? But I guess we put the work in. And that's what matters. So it's the relief of stress from the monthly bills and everything else, that comes along with it has been awesome.
Great. Steve, how about you?
Well, it's not only like Mike alluded to, the financial side of it has been great, but us working together as a family, the whole family helps out. The kids help, putting packages together and labeling and all that good stuff, and help us come together as a family. And then let alone the trips, the kids enjoy Disney, and, us getting, Karen and I as a partnership, and, being able to go out and go to these great incentives too, to like Hawaii and the leadership trips and all that. So it's just many and great things, and being part of almost like a second brotherhood. Those Marines that are, I'm leaving the Marine Corps, and that's one big brotherhood, but it's almost like another brotherhood in Scentsy where, everybody knows each other, and it's, it's like a common bond, like leaving one brotherhood and going to another.
Hell yeah!
Or sisterhood, as I should say.
I love that.
I had to break it up before you shed a tear, Steve.
Yeah.
And the thing is like with that brotherhood, so when you go on these trips, you actually start looking forward to going on the trips at the same time with the guys you met the last time, It's just something to look forward to, is good times.
Yeah, that's like the number one thing I was going to say is is the extended family almost, because Chrisley and I being military, I haven't been home in 2 years. I know she hasn't been home in 4 years. Family comes in every now and then, but I see like our friends from Sensi more than I see my own family. And I cannot wait until June 18th. Like, that cannot come fast enough. I mean, I know Steve and Karen and Asper and Mike won't be there, but everybody else will be there for week 2. And it's like, I cannot wait. The people I met in Mexico, the people I met in Disney. I mean, I really cannot wait for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all had a blast at leadership in January. From what I remember.
All right. Let's see. We'll go to Sean with this one. What are your plans for the future with Sensi? Where do you see yourself going with it, or it taking you?
Let's see here. We're still on the fence right now of early retirement or not. I think just one thing, I just don't want to let the Marine Corps go, because it's all I've been doing since, 19 years old. And we're strongly looking at early retirement in a year or 2 years. It's just where to go with Sensi. It all depends where Sensi goes. I mean, we're going to go wherever Sensi decides to go. I mean, I know at leadership, Heidi Norville said, they need us all in. Well, I'm already all in, so wherever Sensi decides to go, like the Sensi family, I'm going wherever Sensi goes.
Awesome. Anybody else want to weigh in? No? Steve?
Yeah, we're all in already. I'm doing the retirement thing, and then working Sensi full time. So it's going to be nonstop and pushing forward with the Sensi family of Velada and Brand X and all that good stuff. So
yeah, I'm actually looking forward to the day when I'm not trying to get young men to become United States Marines anymore. And I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
What? I didn't hear anything you said.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to not recruiting anymore.
Oh.
And getting out there and just selling Sensi instead of selling the Corps all the time.
Yeah, you got to recruit for Sensi, just not the same type, right?
Yeah.
All right. Did you want to say anything, Mr. Farmer?
I'm just following you.
Oh, okay. That's good. All right, so income is a huge factor in any line of work. Not that we can talk specific numbers, but can we talk like what Chrislina was hitting on earlier, maybe the increase of growth with Sensi and why you think your wife was able to grow her business to the degree it is today? I'm going to go to Steve for this one first.
Well, seeing that we were kind of, I won't say the first ones in North Carolina, but one of the first few that started out there, we were able to establish a quick base there. And once she kind of figured out that, hey, this can make some money and not sending recruits to other people's websites. So, once we figured that out and we started hitting it, and the work, almost not, I wouldn't say not that much work, but at the beginning it was kind of easy to go along and getting recruits and putting it in. And then now with the size of the team that we have, up in the 2000s, it's just awesome to have, those people, and then the responsibility to push them forward also to see their dreams become reality too. So it's all there, and the finances are, astronomical basically. And just, reach for the stars and, they'll deliver.
All right. What about you, Sean?
What was the question?
Oh my.
Are you texting?
I was texting on that one.
I said, let me reread it. Income is a huge factor in any line of work.
Oh, okay, that one.
Yeah, growth, and when did you see Chrislina's business start growing?
I mean, it really grew right from the beginning. Well,
No.
it grew from the beginning when she started working it. Because she just signed up and she didn't do anything. I mean, she had a couple parties and she bought it for herself. but once she got it out there, started doing home parties, and then she went to convention. She was actually going to quit Scentsy. Karen sprinkled some magic over the phone with her, and it was just, I mean, she was going to go to convention, and she had bought me a pistol that Christmas prior, and she was just sitting there complaining about, I'm not going to have any money to do anything, and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, yeah, I don't use the pistol, so I don't sold the pistol. And I come home, gave her some cash, and I was like, here, just, you know, a little spending money. She came back, and then she was all motivated, charged, and all she really did was just talk about Scentsy to everybody.
Yeah.
And that's really all it took. Everyone was just like, they just started hosting parties, signing up, and it just blew up, and now it's like all over, you know what I mean, Paris Island, and once she started talking about it and just her excitement about it, I would say the financial growth really skyrocketed then.
Perfect. Mike, do you want to weigh in on that?
Not really. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, because Aspen signed up, we left recruiting duty in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and we went to Camp Pendleton, and we didn't know anybody when we got down there. And she just started talking to everybody about it down there. And people were like, oh, yeah, let's do this. So next thing you know, she had, 50 people, and that thing just started exploding. And, with the explosion came the financial benefits of it, and it just hadn't stopped. It's been, so it's been nonstop since we've been down Camp Pendleton. So it's been great from the beginning, I think, personally.
Wonderful. How about you, Bill? You don't have to answer.
No, I would have to say that I saw the steady growth probably about maybe 8 to 9 months after Jody started. She worked it like a business from day one. I mean, she went out, she pounded the pavement, she went to local businesses looking to, put samples or, set up a warmer. And, she did everything possible to get the name out there. But once it really